Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at writing tests in Rust. There's a few APIs that Rust gives us out of the box that we'll explore in this video, and hopefully we can then make use of them in our own applications. Okay, I've already executed rustling's watch from the rustling's repository, and here we see that there is a compilation error in exercises test1.rs. And then we see here that in line 15, there's an assertion which expects a Boolean value, but there's nothing in there. That is probably already the thing we need to fix. So let's take a look at that file. I'm going to open up exercises tests and then test1.rs. Okay, and then this file says this test has a problem with it. Make the test compile. Make the test pass, and make the test fail. Okay, so here we see we have just a test module where we call you can assert, and then we have this macro assert, which lets us do assertions in Rust. And an assertion takes an expression that has to be true, because in tests we assert that something is true. Now here's no expression in there, and that's why the compiler is complaining. So we need to put any expression in there that results in a Boolean value. In fact, a true Boolean value. So if I just put true in there, then this should already make it work. Yep, that's compiling. And just for fun, we can change this to false, and we'll see that this is gonna fail, but it is compiling. Okay, and then what else? We can also put a more complex expression in there. We could say 1 + 1 = 2, and then save that, and we'll see that is compiling as well. So any expression in Rust that returns a Boolean value can be put into that assert macro. Okay, nice. Gonna remove that comment here and move on to the next one. Okay, the next one in test2.rs, we have an assert equal function that is failing. So let's take a look at that. In test2.rs. Okay, so yeah, same thing as in the previous one. We have a macro for making assertions, and we also have a macro for asserting that two values are equal. And this is what assert EQ does. So in other words, we can give it first argument, for example, true, and another one true, and these two things are indeed equal. If I save this, we can see that this is passing just fine. If I change this to false and false, then this is going to be also just fine, because these two values are the same. If I change them to false and true, for example, then obviously this is gonna fail the test. And just to make sure that you can actually trust me and I'm not saying anything that's not true here, you can also put different types, like for example a string from bar in here, and then we take that whole thing and copy it over to this part here, and then save that, and this is also going to be compiling just fine. Okay, so that's assert equal. Let's remove the comment here, and let's see what else is up. Okay, so the next one is in test3. So I'm gonna open up that file, test3.rs, and here we see that this test isn't testing our function. Make it do that in such a way that the test passes. Then write a second test that tests whether we get the result we expect to get when we call isEven5. Okay, and then we see here we have a function isEven that takes a number which is of type i32, and it returns a Boolean value. And here we see that we take the number modulus 2 equals 0. So if the given number is divisible by 2, and whatever is left is 0, then this is going to be returning true. And then down here is a test is true when even. We have to make it pass, and there's an assertion here that misses an expression. So in other words, we could just say is even and then give it some value that actually is even. So for example 4, and then that should be an assertion that is true. Okay, and then we have another test that says is false when odd, and then there is another assertion that has to get a Boolean expression that is false. So in this case we could say is even and then 5, which is going to be false because 5 is not even, but an assertion only passes when the given expression is actually true. So let's negate that here and save the file and see what's happening. Yeah, cool. That is compiling as well. So I'm going to remove the comment and head off to the next one. Okay, so next up is a little quiz in quiz 3. So let's see, exercises and then quiz 3 RS. Okay, so this is a quiz for the following sections: tests. The quiz isn't testing our function. Make it do that in such a way that the test passes. Then write a second test that tests that we get the result we expect to get when we call times 2 with a negative number. No hints, you can do this. Okay, so this seems to be very similar to what we've just done. And here we see a function times 2 that takes a number of type i32 and multiplies it by 2. That's why this function is called times 2. And then we have a test down here that says it returns twice of positive numbers. And then it has an assert equal here, which calls times 2 with 4. And we probably need to say that this is going to be equals to 8. And then down here, we have another test that says it returns twice of negative numbers. And we have to write our own test here. So let's take this whole assertion here and copy it over here and say, okay, we call it with -4. And that is going to be equals to -8. And I think that should be it. So let's save that and see what the compiler is saying. Yep, this is compiling. Okay, removing that comment once and for all. And that was already it this time. Hopefully you liked the video and thanks for watching.